Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel and another design team layout for Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files. I am going to be using the llama cut file. As you can see, I have cut her out on black, and I'm going to be scrapping this photo of me at the alpaca farm at Guide Falls in Tasmania, which is where we had our honeymoon. So my husband took this photo. We went and visited this alpaca farm. They had llamas and alpacas, and I got to lead this little baby alpaca around on a leash. He was very tame. He was super, super sweet. It was a really fun day. I had an absolute ball. I love alpacas and llamas. I just think they're super sweet, especially alpacas. So yeah, I just had a really fun day. So I definitely knew as soon as I saw this cut file that this was the layout I would be using it for. As you can see, I have a lot of little llama ephemera collected there that I've put aside specifically with this layout in mind. So I'm just going ahead here and I am backing my cut file. I'm going to use, I've got a few scraps of red here that I'm going to use to back the love hearts and the flower in her hair. And then the rest of her I'm going to, well, you'll see in a minute. I'm just going to go ahead and back her blanket and her little flower at the moment. And to do that, I just traced around the shape, cut it out, added a bit of wet glue, and then popped it down. There we go, skip 2, and all those pieces are backed. Now I'm going to go ahead and back her body. So to do this, I decided to use a fringing technique, and I guess she kind of looks like a pinata in the end, which wasn't really what I was going for, but I kind of forgot that like a llama is a common pinata animal. But what I really wanted to go for was kind of like fur. So I'm just going to cut out some strips of this paper. It's like an ivory cream. It looks plain on the video now that I'm looking at it, but it has a very faint grey script all the way through it. So I've just cut that into 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch strips, and now I'm just going through and fringing them. And I don't have fringing scissors. I don't think they're necessary. I went through this pretty quick. I can snip, snip, snip really fast. You don't have to be super accurate with it. They don't all have to be exactly the same width. I never felt the need to go and buy a pair of those for the amount of fringing I do. So I've cut a bunch of those, and then I'm taking just a plain white piece of paper and tracing around the outside of my llama, not being super specific about making it perfect. I just want to get a rough idea of how big her body is and where her legs go and whatnot, so that I can glue these strips down. So I'm starting from the bottom, and I'm just gluing the top of the strip down. So when you do your fringe, make sure you leave, I left about 3 millimeters, not quite 1/4 of an inch at the top. You don't want to cut all the way through, obviously, so you need a spot for the glue to go. So just add glue at the top there, and then you'll be able to fluff up all the nice ruffles. So just checking she fits. Go ahead and do the whole thing, and once that's all glued down, and now I'm going to stick down my cut file. So I am just adding wet glue all around the outside. I'm not leaving any gaps. I'm making sure to add quite a bit, because you want to make sure it's really stuck to the cut file when you trim off the excess, because if you're sort of going around the edge at a bit of an angle and you snip off some of the parts where the fringe isn't attached to the top, then you may lose a few bits of fringes and have kind of like a blank space. So just make sure you add lots of glue to the edge of your cut file. I've kept this extra like inside part of the cut file just for the placement of the eyelashes. I find that's just the easiest way to do it. So whenever I have small details like that loose, I make sure to keep the inside of the cut file. So now I'm just going through and trimming off the excess. This did take quite a while. It was quite slow going because I have quite a few layers of paper there. I have the backing paper, and then I have all the layers of texture fringing. So it did take a bit of time. I had to go really slowly. So I don't make you watch all this, don't worry. And there was quite a bit of mess, as you can see. All the little extra fringy bits just sort of fall everywhere, so that's something to keep in mind. But it looks so good when it's all finished. So there she is, all trimmed out. I'm just taking my thumbs and ruffling up all the bits that aren't sort of glued underneath anything, and adding lots of texture and dimension. It looks so cool when it's finished. There's a bit of a close-up. Definitely worth the effort. Alright, so now for my photo, I'm trimming it down. This layout is going to be an 8.5 by 11, or well, A4 size layout, so I want my photo a bit smaller. Unfortunately, well, not necessarily unfortunately, but I have all my honeymoon photos printed out. I pretty much printed the entire, several thousand of them when I got home from my honeymoon, all in 4x6. So I've already spent the money on that. That was many years ago. I've had them for quite a while, and I've kept them safe. They're fine. They're not. I mean, they're on archival paper and everything, so they're not going anywhere. But I didn't want to reprint a bunch of photos out on 3x4 because I already have them printed, and that would be a massive waste. So yeah, where I can, I'm just trimming them down. And this photo in particular, all that was in the background was kind of like ugly chain link fences and power lines and things like that. So I was happy to trim those off. Okay, as I was chatting away there, I have cut down a piece of black 12x12 cardstock to the right size. I make them slightly larger than A4 because my page protectors are A4 technically, but if you put an A4 piece of paper in there, it's quite loose in there, and I like them to be really snug. I don't like to see like the edges of the reverse of the layout that's on the back of on the other side of the page protector, if that makes sense. So sometimes if they're loose in the protector, they sort of move around. You can see the back of the other layout, and I don't like that. So I just make them a little bit bigger. So I have added that sheet of pattern paper. It's a really sort of soft minty blue with teal palm leaves all over it. Kind of going for a tropical theme for this layout. I don't know why. I pulled out my like tropical themed kit that I put together myself. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's just lots of bright colors, and I thought because in the photo I'm wearing that bright red jacket and I have on a pink top and the background is that bright green. I don't know. I just was kind of feeling like the bright colors. So yeah, I like how it turned out. So I'm glad I grabbed this kit. I have just gone ahead and matted my photo on white, just a thin strip of that, and now I'm using that palm leaf green paper. You can't even really tell it's a palm leaf by the time I'm finished. And then I'll pop in a layer of bright yellow as well. I think about that one, but I didn't like the orange in it, so I go with the yellow with the pink flowers. I just wanted, I don't know, something, a very different color to the background. That green was a bit too similar to the green in the palm leaves on the background. So yeah, I like this bright yellow paper, and the saddle blanket on the llama I've used a pink and a bright yellow polka dot. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera, but in the close-ups you can see, so it's just a bit more yellow. Okay, as you can see, the cut file and the photo takes up a lot of real estate on the page. So yeah, I think the struggle with these layouts is to not overcrowd them, but also put in everything that you want to put in. So I probably do overcrowd it in the end, but I like it, and I think that's all that matters at the end of the day. So I do manage to get all of those 4 llamas on this layout. I like them all. I wanted them all on there, so I did. Now, I'm having a bit of a dilemma here because I put some things behind the llama there. I kind of want to fill that space, but I don't want them to look like she's pooping them because they're coming out from, that area. So I put that large floral cluster there just over the top, overlapping to just sort of, yeah, I guess make it look like she's not doing that with the other ephemera I put there. I don't know if I succeeded. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's always something you need to consider when you're scrapping animals or putting animals on a layout. I'm just going through and gluing down here. I've sped this up super fast because it's pretty boring to watch, but I think I may have moved a couple of things around, so I wanted to keep it in. That little baby llama, oh, they're so cute. Okay, so now I'm taking these alphas from Rosie Studio. They're from the same collection that those llama die cuts came from, so I thought it matched nicely. I've taken the V's out of the collection because I'm out of A's and turned them upside down. So because they're that two-tone sort of dipped alpha, I also turned up the O's upside down too. So the A's aren't the only ones that are kind of reversed, if that makes sense. I'm really fighting against my instinct to not overlay the page, but I had to add some more florals to balance out that big cluster. So I cut that one in half and put half at the top of my photo and half behind the head of the llama because she's already got that flower in her hair. I added some enamel dots, as you could see. My camera cut out, so you did miss the footage of that, unfortunately, but I just did 3 groups of 3 as per usual. And now I'm adding some gold splatters of my Kaiser Mist, and that will be my layout finish. So thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to check out the Confessions of a Paper Addict Cutfiles shop. The link will be in the description box, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.